this is quite boring. Wait, they already started recording? What? Okay, probably it's time to share with you something better, which is the Chinese Civil War. So the basics is going to be that we just explained before everything about the basics are that there will be two countries highlighted and they will take territory, and basically that's the idea. There will be like more than two countries sometimes, there will be multiple countries sometimes, and there is a civil war. I will explain what that is. But first, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. And so as you can see, this is a new studio. I guess it looks cleaner. Leave a comment down in the comments section, so that how do you think of this new studio? Do you like it or not? Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and also I have a big announcement, but to figure out what that announcement is, well, make sure to watch till the end of the video. So also I have hidden 4 markers in this video, each progressively getting harder. So the black one is the easiest, then is the red one, then is the green one, and then is the blue one. I'm hiding this here now. I will later put it in other places. Make sure to just see. I will put them in different places in the video. So let's start. So this is my main marker. Just wanted to clarify, it's like the gray-red marker, so you don't get confused. And also, yeah, I probably need to take that away. So let's get into the actual video, because we have been talking about other stuff right now. So let's first highlight China's border. This is obviously one of the basics. If you want to simulate this exact scenario on your map, then make sure to use a whiteboard marker and then just highlight this on whatever map, and just kind of highlight them. This is going to be your first step. So this is going to be the Chinese Civil War, and I'll explain what happens in it. First, let me highlight. So let's figure out what and which countries or states or whatever will actually be the Civil War. So let's see. First of all, I will add Tibet. It has wanted its independence for a while, and so it's just natural. Since Tibet has various different cultures and people and is more related to India than to China, it technically should gain its independence. Next is Xinjiang or East Turkestan, depending on what you say. This is the Muslim province of China, and that's why they want independence. Next is Manchuria. They're just kind of like a country who is big enough to become their own country, and that's why. And we will see another side, but that's coming later. And so let's I guess get into the war. What do we say? So let's get into it. Yeah. So first of all, China. This is a complete complete surprise for China. Like, China is completely surprised that all of these countries are actually rebelling against them, and so China doesn't know what to do. They're surprised. They're absolutely bamboozled. That's why they're going to be trying to defend quickly. So first of all, we need to take into account mobilization. So basically, a brief overview of what mobilization means. It basically means how much time it takes for the troops to go to the front lines. So that's why mobilization will be a bit stronger on the Manchurian side, while on Tibet's and Xinjiang's side it's going to be much harder. And the best part is they've been planning all of these. These 3 countries, they are already mobilized, so they can start their offensive. Now I did another thing which is probably this is going to be quite weird and awkward to say, but this time there's no nukes. This is just going to be good. This is just going to be a parallel universe where there's no nukes. We're just going to accept that for the sake of mapping, because that's the point. If you use nukes, then what's the point of just doing this? So first of all, for the Tibetan troops who get help from India, they start quickly coming to this area of the center. And the thing is the center is quite a strategic point, because that's where you can go to all the big cities for them, and that's why they're going towards this area. And Xinjiang, just tries to invade Inner Mongolia, and they are in a stalemate. The mobilization of Beijing has already been done, but it's quite hard to get them to Tibet. So still, the Tibetan frontline defense hasn't come yet. And then Manchuria, they're getting absolutely decimated. They're absolutely getting destroyed. At this point, many countries such as Japan and South Korea start aiding Manchuria, while South Korea starts aiding China, whatever they can aid. I mean, they won't aid. And Russia starts providing them more supplies. That's, I guess, the whole situation of the alliances. And thus, this area is put onto a stalemate, and so they are pretty close to Manchuria's capital. But the big problem is going for China is going to be the mountains in this region. The mountains in this region and some mountains around here. Well, I need to show you in this map here. So let's show you in another map. Basically, here you can see that there is a lot of mountains here and a lot of mountains here. And if you switch back to the main map out this way, those are mountains. Their capitals are located in the mountains, and that's not good for China. They need to defend like really good. Why is my voice so bad? I think it's because it's winter. Okay, whatever. Let's go back to the main topic. But so, as you can see, more occupying with Tibet, but until they're stalemated. And then China starts doing very well. They start going into the occupied areas, trying to get their land back. But at most, what this does is allow Manchuria to go this way. So the thing about Manchuria is that they're closer to all of China's main cities than anyone else, and that means they're going to have to do better on them. And this is quite easy for China, actually, if you think about it really deeply, because all they gotta do is take out Manchuria like really quickly, and whatever happens there, they can just kind of push it until they get a peace deal on the mountains. And so that's like quite easy for China, but we'll see about how easy it is a bit later. So at this point, China has only mobilized around 10% of their army. They thought this was going to be a breeze with 10% of their army, but they realized that, oh no, this is not that easy, 10% of our army. And so they boosted up to around 25% of their army. While all of these are fighting with 15%, all of their army, they still struggle against China's 10% of their army. So just understand the power comparison here. So they start mobilizing their 25% army, and immediately this is taken a hit with Xinjiang and then Tibet getting further in, and Manchuria basically losing all of their land. This is not good for every one of the rebellions. So what do? Well, many of the people start rebelling in Beijing, like many of the people who support them, and they immediately get suppressed. But this causes mass tension, and various parts of China start rising up as basically volunteer groups, and Taiwan declares war. Basically, volunteer groups are signing up to basically Taiwan, and basically they're trying to take over, like, this see, why am I using basically so much? So pretty much they are like trying to take over this whole thing, and now this is quite a bad situation for China. You know why? Because might seem a bit more boring than other mapping videos, but if you think about it, this is what's really happening. Whenever you see rebellions going back of the front line, what the troops gotta do is, the troops who are going this way, they can just destroy them. But if all the troops are here, they have to go back to the front line here, which will increase this front line and will allow them to basically sandwich them. And that's not good for all the Chinese troops. Like, look at this, there's a huge amount of rebellions in this front line. And so imagine how big this front line is, with basically rebellions here, and then they're pretty much getting sandwiched. These Chinese troops, they must escape this way, or whatever. This is actually what's happening in the war. And so this is why these rebellions are such a big threat. So what China does is recruits new troops, or not recruits, they mobilize new troops, and they start trying to destroy these, but some of them have already connected to the main ROC group, which is supported by the US and their allies, and many of these guys get destroyed, but also this puts a huge impact and Tibet are able to expand further. At this point, China is in a losing game because they didn't realize they had to take so much military. It's currently around 35% of their military mobilized, but they realize they gotta step it up, and so they go to 45%. This is a huge amount of China's military, and this is probably not going to happen in real life, but we're saying like almost all of these supplying like huge amounts of ammunition and stuff to the ROC and these people. And not to mention, India is supporting these two, so it's a bad deal for Manchuria because they're pretty much cut off, because if China wanted to invade Mongolia, they will do it in a second. And then there's Russia, so they pretty much have no supply other than North Korea if it was willing to supply, which of course they wouldn't. And these have like lots of suppliers from here which are willing to supply them things, and this is like right next to the coastline. Like everybody can supply this, at least if they're not landlocked. And so when you think about it, that's why Manchuria is losing. So basically this is like a very, very, very bad situation for China, and the US has said they will go to 2025 at least to war with China, but it might just be a joke, or it might just be like something else. And so that's why I guess this is also quite fantasy, and everything is like not that real. Just wanted to put the disclaimer out. If you're from any of these countries and your country pretty much lost, or country or state, just to clarify, whatever one you are part of, or if you think China is losing and this is bad for you, well, then don't feel bad, because this is all fictional. Nothing is real actually here. So what we can do here is, now China is pretty much falling apart. They have this kind of central core thing. So I wanted to talk about another thing, which is going to be outside supporters. They're only supporting not getting involved because, well, it's more valuable to not get involved, because if you get involved, then you might be, well, very, very this might be a very, very problematic situation, and I don't know what will you do. I think if like you are a small power like Mongolia, you will get obliterated, and that's not like good. So China takes on Manchuria, and they finally start defending against the ROC, who is heavily supplied, and then the Tibet people, and then Shinchan starts coming closer to China. Basically a loss for China until they start using all of their military, like all reserves. And yeah, it goes very well. The entire ROC has basically become China, and now they control the shipping industry, which is quite bad for the West. I mean, they're not getting any new technology, which is, let me show you something. You know how there's like the recycle thing, and there's a lot of other circles like this? Well, this is pretty much just another circle. So you get the microchips, then you go make them weapons. Basically you make them weapons. I don't know how to draw weapons, so I'll just draw that. Then you use those weapons to fight against another country, and then that country will give you back the chips. That's not a good thing, because if you fight with that country, then your whole fight for the war is like gone. And if you think about that, that's not that good for America. So they organize a peace deal, of course, because they of course need to organize a peace deal. So the peace deal is Xinjiang will own all of this, and Tibet will own all of this. This part will be owned by the ROC, which will be now known as the Republic of South China, or ROSC, and this will be known as the People's Republic of China, basically the PRC. The People's Republic of Northern China would be also called. And this is going to be the whole peace treaty, and this is the only way I can think it ends if the ROC gets obliterated by China, which is a good decision definitely. Another thing, I want to tell you two things. Okay, there's two big things. First of all, we got monetized. There's some really exciting things coming. We almost got monetized. Basically, we are creating all the process with YouTube. We have gotten the requirement. This is all thanks to your support. Yeah, that's right, you. And that's why we are going to be doing a special, okay? So, I'm currently working on how the special would work, but it's basically going to be alternate future of the world, which I abandoned already, but again. So, I will explain how we'll do it later on in another video. Maybe I'll get another map. So, yeah. Bye. And make sure to wait for my monetization video, because it's not only going to be a Thanksgiving to you, but it's also going to help out other people. Yeah, so bye.